As always, upvote, downvotes, not recommendations. We have a nice EV theme today, as we did get a lot of these EV figures. So that is something to look forward to. We did not have earnings catalyst, but we did have some of these electric vehicle delivery numbers. So starting things off with the behemoth of the EV world, that is naturally Tesla, which had very much a banner 2023, but reporting Tuesday above consensus deliveries for the fourth quarter. And in the process, it did reach that annual goal. Analysts were generally upbeat about the numbers. We did see that one analyst called this a major achievement as far as their fourth quarter deliveries go, coming over 484,000 units. That exceeded the 480,000 units that had been expected, and another figure called for around 478,000 units. So whatever the forecast you were paying attention to, this did come in above that. Production also came in at 495,000 units, in line with a lot of what had been expected at around 500,000 units, but some were a little bit more optimistic. Again, I think it's what really depends on what prediction you were paying attention to. But the production shortfall versus expectations, some analysts said, reflect this strong inventory control during the quarter. Model 3 and Y deliveries were strong at 477,000 units, with China a clear area of success. Now, Dan Ives, who we have to discuss when we discuss Tesla, naturally did say this was an important quarter for Tesla to show really strong deliveries and the strong momentum into 2024. He has also highlighted the uptick they've seen since third quarter as far as their global checks. So naturally, Ives is one of these notorious bulls, but I do think he makes some good points. We are seeing some selling today. Initially, they opened a little bit higher. I was watching the price off the open. We're now slightly lower, but not really. I mean, like, not seeing massive outperform or underperformance, just given the rest of some of these major tech names and their weakness today.
Yeah, the market's taken a little bit of a swing to the downside since we began talking here on the show. So I'm not surprised to see Tesla swing negative, but it's still outperforming the overall market. I thought Mark Delaney at Goldman said it best. He just said they're solid numbers, and that's what we've sort of become accustomed to seeing from Tesla. What the market does with them, that could be anybody's guess, and it seems today.
Everyone knows that Tesla is the leader in the electric vehicle market in terms of both revenue and growth margin. The company is also the biggest car maker by market cap over the years. Tesla has built a strong growth margin that is hard for other companies in the same field to catch up to. In this video, we'll look at why Tesla is set to have a great year in 2024 and why it's the company to keep an eye on. We'll also show you how Tesla's stock could be worth up to $400 by the end of 2024. So stay tuned as we explore these amazing possibilities.
Our next guest, he was right about the big rally. Dan Ives, Wedbush Securities Analyst. You're going to, I would guess by the end of this year, you'll be atop the leaderboard of CNBC appearances, Dan. Although I'm willing to take an over-under on that. And you know what? I'm going to love every one of them. So happy New Year.
And it's great to be here.
Good to see you. You had a good call on tech overall. You continue to be quite bullish. Let's start with Tesla, though. Just give me your take on those numbers. You know, Phil just mentioned 2.3 million. Are you going to be towards the high end in terms of what you expect them to deliver this year?
Yeah, I think whisper expectations could be higher. Look, this was a strong result. You look what's happening in China. There were fears there, and it was actually a source of strength. We think a record quarter in China. So I do think this is an important, sign that demand's actually strengthening for Tesla. It continues to be maybe EV demand soften, but not Tesla demand, and that's the important thing going into 24.
Yeah, where is that line? Why is that the case then? And in particular in China, where BYD is such a strong competitor, are they going to be able to maintain their market share?
Yeah, BYD has done a phenomenal job, but I do think if you look in the driver's seat, it's Tesla and BYD. Gained some net share from NIO and others, and in China, especially if you look at the last few quarters, there were fears that this price war was going to continue. It actually hasn't. See, now, to Phil's point, you're seeing price stabilization. That's very important because now the Goldilocks scenario, margins upticking, demand upticking, that's where, in our opinion, you see $1 trillion market cap for Tesla over the next year, despite many of the haters continuing to hate.
Dan, I have to get your take on Apple this morning with Barclays revealing its downgrade over cooling iPhone demand. Do you agree with the assessment there? Your channel checks showing the same thing about the demand picture for iPhones?
I mean, the last 48 hours, it hasn't changed from what we've seen over the last month. I mean, look, and I get some of these calls from a valuation perspective, and many that have been naysayers over the last year. But if I look at iPhone 15, we have not seen number cuts from our checks in Asia, and that's important because I think it shows that this upgrade opportunity is actually manifesting for Apple. I actually think the mix is much more Pro, specifically Pro Max in China. I think what that ultimately means is that this is going to be an iPhone number that comes in above expectations. But the most important thing, and David's talked about a lot, services. I still think this is going to be teenager type of growth, not single digits. If that's true, and we believe it is based on our checks, I think this is ultimately a stock that could go 30, 40% higher this year.
Wow, right. Well, you get potentially even a higher multiple again as services becomes an even larger part of overall profit. Let's talk broader tech here. Again, our viewers see you often, so we know where you stood towards the end of last year. This is going to be a big AI moment, and it's going to create a bull market overall for how many companies in technology this year, Dan?
Well, yeah, and talk about it here is that our new AI checks, and me and you've talked on the program a lot about use cases. Use cases are exploding. I mean, the average enterprise right now that we're talking to is seeing 15 to 20 potential use cases within their companies. That's why right now we think it's going to be 8-10% of budgets. And I think that's the important thing. You look, it's not just the godfather of AI and NVIDIA and Jensen. It's not just what's happened in Redmond. I think you're going to see the spread across the board in software and chips, which is why we believe tech stocks will be up 25% this year. And we could have some ebbs and flows, but I believe it's get out the popcorn moment, the new tech bull market.
Even though the market was competitive and there were a lot of problems, 2023 was a great year for Tesla. The automaker just released its Q4 2023 production and delivery report. And it's amazing, Tesla not only surpassed its annual sales goal, but it also delivered more than 484,000 cars in the last quarter alone. This news has many analysts reiterating their positive views on Tesla, and some even say it was the best sales year Tesla has ever had. Hey everyone, welcome back to our show. Tesla delivered a total of 48,457 cars in Q4 2023. The total number of vehicles made by Tesla was 49,499. The Model 3 and Mi made up 476,077 of the total production numbers, while the Model S and Y, which included some Cybertrucks, made up 18,2112 of the total production numbers. This is really impressive and a great way to start the year. So why are these numbers so important for Tesla? How will Tesla stock reach $400 by the end of this year? We'll answer these questions and talk about other important factors that will make this happen in this video. Let's get started. If you like this kind of content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and make sure no ads show up. In the US and Canada, Tesla has a market share of about 3.3. In Europe and China, it's just below 2. These are impressive numbers, especially considering how much other automakers, both old and new, are spending in electric vehicles. Tesla's delivery numbers are impressive because they show that the company can increase production and grow its reach around the world. Tesla has opened 2 new plants in Germany and Texas to make more of the Model I, which is the company's best-selling car. Tesla also plans to release new goods in 2024, such as the Semi, the Roadster, and the Robo-Taxi. These could help the company reach new customers and make more money. Then they will also show off its technological advances and long-term goals. Tell us in the comments what you think about Tesla, and don't forget to tell us how much you value it. If you want to learn more about what Tesla has been doing lately, go ahead and subscribe to our channel.